Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For one more year, I have the pleasure to moderate, in the context of the Tax Forum, the session pertaining to justice and to the resolution of tax disputes. This session will be divided into three parts. And since we have among us some representatives of the legal world, and in order to make the distinction of estates, in the first part we have the Minister of Justice, Mr. Kostas Tsiaras, who represents the legislative estate and executive estate, since he is a minister. Then we will have a talk with Mr. Michailis Epikramenos, Vice President of the Council of State. And in the third part of the session, I'm going to have a talk with two lawyers, Mr. Alex Karopoulos and Mr. Panagiotis Pothos. So I would like to welcome the Minister of Justice, Mr. Kostas Tsiaras. I would like to thank him very much, since I know that last week he had a very heavy schedule. He had to be present in the parliament in order to defend the passing of the criminal code. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Mr. Tsiaras, even though not a lawyer, which, as he says, is why many people deride him, has a lot of laws passed during his tenure. I talked earlier about the law that was passed last week. We had also some proposals for the revision of the civil law code. We had also the proposal for a pilot trial, and there are many other activities and laws that have been put forward while he has been a minister. So, the first question I would like to ask the Minister is, could you please describe the initiatives that have been taken in the field of justice, taking into account that tax disputes are part of administrative justice? First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation, and I would also like to tell you that it's a great pleasure to accept your invitation and take part in the Tax Forum. I know that it is an institution that focuses on problems that are existing, and also it is a place where new ideas are being formed. The question you asked me, I believe it can be answered very easily, because what we can see is many developments in the field of administrative justice, and especially in justice. The effort is focused on accelerating justice in all its forms, both in political and administrative courts. But especially when it comes to administrative courts, I can tell you that we have institutionalized the electronic submission of administrative documents. I can also tell you that we have passed the new case law of the Council of Auditors, which is accompanied by a very completed text that pertains to the law and to the operation of the Court of Auditors. I can also tell you that we have realized the establishment of specialized departments that process specific cases in the courts of the country. We have established the statistical department in the Ministry of Justice in order to get reliable data that we will use in order to make any necessary change or reform in the future. And of course, I can also tell you that the effort that is being made is focusing on various different levels. We have already passed a completed law for mediation that facilitates the work of administrative courts. We have also passed the changes in the civil law code, introducing at the same time the pilot trial concept, which is a very important development for the promotion and acceleration of justice. But all of these need to be perceived as part of a wider plan of reforms and modernization of justice. If we had to approach all these separately, we wouldn't be following the right approach, because basically what we have done is from the very first moment I took office, we drafted a very specific and comprehensive plan in order to modernize justice in Greece, to make the necessary reforms, but mostly to create a justice that will be acknowledged and respected by the citizens, and of course, justice that will increase this sense of safety for all citizens. And moreover, lately we had a very positive report drafted by the European Commission on the rule of law in Greece. And according to this report, and compared to the European average, we are in a far better position, since the Greek citizens show an increased sense of trust to the judicial instruments. We have improved our place by 2 positions. So you understand that this effort is multifaceted, multi-layered. It is an effort that needs to be carried on in the future, since there are many challenges and issues that we record and we try to resolve. First of all, by taking legislative initiatives, and secondly, by following a specific direction that has remained the same throughout all these years and is related to digital justice, because this is the only way in order to change the Greek reality. And one last thing I would like to say with regard to that. As the BB1, which is the integrated system of penal and administrative cases, and as DD, which is the system pertaining to administrative justice, thanks to these 2, we have accumulated valuable experience that has allowed us to understand that all these interventions will make all processes more objective, faster, and transparent. And by doing so, we will create a completely new reality in Greece. Next week, along with the Minister of Digital Governance, we will present the so-called electronic table, which is a very important step in the judicial sector. Moreover, there has been another very important initiative taken by the Ministry of Justice, which again will contribute to the change of reality. Moreover, the digital transcription of the court proceedings is another major step. The digital penal registry, the teletrials, all these are challenges of a new era, of the digital era for justice. Thank you, Mr. Minister. I can say that some of these changes are in the right direction, since as the lawyers, we have already started using some of these, like electronic signature. Of course, these signatures need to be checked and verified every year. Maybe this will change, but the point is that I have used solutions like the ones you described, and we can see that these solutions are in the positive direction. Now, I would like to ask you about the future. What do you plan to do for the future? We know that you have already started the public consultation for the School of Judges, but please tell us a few things about what you are planning to do with regard to the RRF. Look, whatever is planned for the short or medium future is inextricably linked with what has been done to date. There was the rationale to update the codes. That is why we passed the code of court officers, a new civil law code, a new case law for the Court of Auditors, and the major challenge is ahead of us since it pertains to the reorganization and restructuring of the National School of Judges, as well as the Code for the Organization of Courts and Court Officers. So these are 2 chapters that need to be closed once and for all by passing laws which are modern and which can be a tool in the hands of judges and thus do what they need to do without any hindrance. Indeed, the National School of Judges and its reorganization is a major challenge. We have already started the public consultation for the bill of law. You know that there are certain chapters that refer to the subjects that need to be included in the curriculum, since this will make the judges knowledgeable of the current reality. You know that many things have changed since 1985 until to date. 1985 was when the curriculum in the National School of Judges was decided upon. So apart from all these, there are going to be also seminars that the students can attend, and then there will be some placements that will allow all the judges that are training the young judges to evaluate them. And this will be a major innovation and the proof that there's not going to be a one-off process, but that it will be a lifelong learning that these judges will follow. And this, of course, will be important for the judges as well. However, we can have this discussion at a later stage, since I'm willing to have a discussion with the Association of Judges before we pass the bill, before I present the bill or law about the operation of courts. But the point is, as I said, that altogether we can get the best possible results. And that is why I believe that this is the major bet that we need to win. We need to join forces in order to increase the trust that the citizens show to the judicial system and to the role and operation of justice. The RRF is a huge opportunity, and we need to see what is the effort made by all ministries, but also by our ministry, the Ministry of Justice. It is an opportunity and a major challenge at the same time, since we will have the possibility to draw resources in order to train and educate the judges, but also to establish new structures. For example, one of our objectives is to establish a school of court officers, which means that we will have some court officers that will be of very high quality, and most of all, we will be able to upgrade and refurbish the buildings where these schools will be housed. Moreover, we have the plans to purchase a new court in Piraeus. The first instance court of Athens will be built just next to the appeals court, thanks to the resources of the RRF. And of course, we have the tenders PPPs that pertain to the construction of many courts in the country or the upgrading of existing ones. So RRF gives us the possibility to modernize the infrastructure and to create an environment that will be favorable to the judge and to the citizens, and thus will allow justice to be attributed faster and better. And of course, all this will create a sense that justice is in the right direction, in the direction of the future of the digital era, which is the only way. Allow me to repeat. We have a specific plan for changes and reforms, a plan that we have drafted from the very first moment. Now, the utmost objective is to make the Greek citizens, and I'm saying this for the second time because I believe it is important, so to make the Greek citizens trustful of the Greek justice. And this can be done by focusing on the three pillars of justice: people, processes, and infrastructure. We plan to support, modernize, reform all three pillars by following processes which are, of course, in the direction of creating a justice that will be independent, constitutionally guaranteed, and ready to face the future. Okay, very interesting, everything you said. The training of judges is indeed a very important issue. Moreover, the spatial planning of the courts is also very important. One last thing. Are all other partners ready to assimilate the changes you are promoting? I will give you an example. The electronic submission of documents to the Council of the State. Although it has become compulsory, now there is a revisit of this issue. It won't be abolished, but the point is that there are some there is some resistance. No, we cannot talk about resistance. Look, changes always create difficulties. We need to accept that, and they create difficulties to people who are accustomed to a specific process or method, and they are used to follow this process. So that is why we need to make a huge effort, all of us. And this effort needs to be cohesive, concerted, and very strong. You know, what you said in the beginning, that I'm not the lawyer, and many times I'm joking, especially when I'm in the parliament and I'm talking with other MPs who are lawyers. I believe that justice is not a field that pertains exclusively to judges or the parties of a trial. It is something that concerns the entire society. So if we manage to leave this mentality behind, the mentality according to which justice concerns only specific groups of the society, if we manage to revisit the role of society, not the role of justice for society, then we will be able to make the necessary steps. I understand, I respect that there are difficulties, that there are reactions, that there is the human inability to follow some new processes, but still we need to understand that we all need to make our own small contribution if we want to have a justice that will play its role. And once again, allow me to say, if we want to have justice that will be to the service of the citizens and of democracy. Mr. Minister, thank you very much for this very interesting intervention and for everything you said about all these issues pertaining to justice. Thank you very much for being with us here today in the context of the Tax Forum. Thank you very much.